Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to this very important broadcast. Tonight we draft Kupe, Mwane, Guba, and Menchem. But it is important for us to begin the production on this note. Very important that we begin the production on this note. I'm sure some of you would have seen it already. For those who are casting aspersions to the government of the people of Ambazonia for not joining or unifying with people indiscriminately, for opting only for unification of purpose. For those of you who are questioning or who were questioning us and insinuating that we are conspiracy theorists because we had seen it, for those of you who are still speculating who is for the struggle and who isn't, I believe that tonight you should have an answer. If not, if you don't get what I mean, a few years ago, I think about 3 years ago, Mr. I brought the deal made a strange suggestion. Do you know who Mr. I brought the deal is? If you don't know, just follow closely, and I think you will discover who Mr. I brought the deal is before we hop into the Zoom meeting. Mr. I brought the deal made a strange suggestion, which he later on tried to deny. And what was this suggestion? Mr. brought the deal to certain members of government, and his actions could justify it, that he feels that after close to 5 years that Ambazonia has been fighting a war, at the time at least 50,000 Ambazonians were killed. Mr. Brodedew suggested that we should accept a unified deal with Cameroon, go under the subjugation of Cameroon with some kind of a federation. He did not explain to us the strategy or the framework that was going to be used or employed to ensure that this federation becomes a success. And after 20 years, when we are empowered and strong as Ambazonians, we can now fight for our sovereignty. Mr. Abrodedew did that. It was not only foolish, a very foolish statement for someone who was the Secretary of State for Communications and IT, but it was strange. You know, when you are possessed with an evil spirit, it is easier to have strange things happen through you or from you or emanate from you. No Ambazonian who is genuine, who has been practically involved wholeheartedly in the prosecution of this liberation movement can even dare to think about that. It is not even an option that they is willing to entertain on the negotiations table. Few days later, Mr. Brodedew wrote a memo into the cabinet and told them he feels that every Ambazonian, in fact, the cabinet has failed, and power should be handed to Sisiko Julius Ayuk Tabe while in prison. Ambazonians interpreted all of these actions and largely revolted against it. Yet some did not understand. They were blinded by his presence in media. At his old age, he has built for himself media capital that he has already lost, because without substance, you can't keep capital. He has lost. But at that time, a lot of Ambazonians were blinded by that presence he had. And even within the communications department, almost everybody was afraid confronting him. I would say that I was a lone person, probably with Dr. Yaya. But then all of them were telling me to calm down. I was a lone person that revolted against him. I had understood. In 2020, I wrote a letter to the government, and I told the government, this man, you need to dismiss him now. At the time, Professor Ayim was chief of staff. I sent that letter through him. This man is not for Ambazonia. You dismiss him now or remove him for communication. 1 year later on, everybody saw that I was just right. He intentionally used the media capital he had to rupture the entire face of the revolution, not just the government, with a pretext that he wanted democracy or re-election. So he went with a group of a few people, a minority few, and had a government. A few days ago, Mr. Abrodedi abandoned the government with a pretext of transition. And now who has he handed power to? Mr. Abrodedi has handed power to EPA, Dr. EPA. Let me tell you a little story about who Dr. EPA is. Dr. EPA is a former CPDM loyalist. In 2018, Dr. EPA was trying to win a constituency under the auspices of the Cameroon's People's Democratic Movement of Paul Biya Bimvondo. So according to Chris Anu, his heir apparent in his group, that's less than 10 people. I know Mark Fusi, probably in Bombay. I don't know. I thought he used to be intelligent, and a few others. Maybe Gertrude is there. These individuals, they are not up to 15 that make up the bunch of Chris Anu. Some of them actually by now should know that they are on the wrong path. But I just wish that they can be humble to understand that you can repent. And Ambazonians might consider if they can forgive them at this time. That aside, what we are saying today is strangely Issa Chiruma, the Ngananko, that has been positioned by France to distract the people of French Cameroon not to get a genuine leader, happens to have sneaked into Bamenda, and in his campaign speech, a scanty crowd of bike riders that have been hired from Bunda, Issa Chiruma will reveal to the world today his romance with Chris Anu. Issa Chiruma told us in his homily to the scanty crowd of bike riders hired from Bunda, Issa Chiruma told us that Chris Anu gave him permission. He told Chris Anu to protect him while in Bamenda for his campaign. And he pretentiously will want to apologize. One of these days, I'm going to be sending a letter to his campaign team. I want him to come here and tell us what is he apologizing for. What crime did he commit? And let him explain to us some things. I think that's a strategy we need to consider. Not just Chiruma. We will be writing to all the candidates in La République du Cameroon. They are claiming that Ambazonia belongs to them, right? Let them come and have a conversation with us and see how it goes.